Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel, Totally Katika. I'm Katika. If you have not liked or subscribed, please do so that way you can share, comment, let me know what you guys learn or what you gain, or just share with someone else that may benefit from the information that is being provided. But anyways, with that being said, today I really wanted to share with you guys my theme for this video. Just breathe, right? I do have real juice in there. I mean, tea. It's Milo, which is similar to American chocolate, hot chocolate. But this is a Jamaican version. So anyways, the video is not about Milo. It's about just breathing through life and the different situations and the different things that happened, whether they're good or bad. So for me, I really had to learn to breathe through my ectopic pregnancy last year, and still wanting to have another child. So that's what this video is about. Stay tuned. Alright guys, so I'm back. Just breathe. It can be so challenging because after my ectopic pregnancy and the surgery, of course I had to be out of work for a little bit and go through the healing period, of course, and follow up. A few months after, I realized that I was starting to have these really excruciating pain right before my cycle or even after. And I mentioned it to my husband. I thought it was just super weird that all of a sudden I'm having this pain. I'm talking about pain where I'm not a person who likes to take medication. Like, I wanted to take something, but not only that, like I couldn't move. Like, it really hurt. So I took the time to kind of pay attention to it and start to track it to see how often it was happening. Was it at the same time every single month? It was kind of sporadic here and there because it happened before my period, then it happened, after, and so forth. So I started to track that. As you guys know, I no longer have my right tube. I just have my left tube remaining. They told me I can still conceive. So I was like, yay, we still have another chance to have another baby. So I started to Google, everything. What's the possibilities? How long will it take? What can I do? After healing, I started back working out. I started making sure I'm eating healthy, doing everything I needed to do to make sure my body stays healthy. And after the pain continued, several months of trying, I realized that we weren't getting anywhere at all. So I said to my husband, well, between the pain and us not conceiving, I wanted to just get checked out. But before I did that, I sent a message to my doctor and I said, hey, my primary care, I said, I'm having these pains of what's going on, but we still haven't had any luck conceiving, and I'm considering going to see a fertility specialist just to get checked out. So he said, instead of him having me come into the office to do x-rays and all these other stuff, or ultrasound, not having to pay them and then go do the same thing at a fertility specialist, he was like, when you go to the fertility specialist, they will do all the tests and that will give you the answer. So I love my doctor because they're not trying to take money out of me, okay, or my insurance. So I respect that, and that's why I love my doctor. Get you a really good OB, okay, that truly cares about you. So I got a recommendation from one of the employees, my OB there, and I went. The place was absolutely amazing. It is here in Atlanta. I think it's Reproductive Biology Associates. Amazing. I saw Dr. Shapiro, and he is so fun. His energy is just amazing. But when I went to the facility to get my blood work done, it was like my first time, and I was like, it's so calming, it's so relaxing. It was just really, really, really nice. And the staff was amazing. So when I got there, completed that, you know, I would have to wait for my results to really kind of see, you know, what's really going on and what will be the next step. So after I met with him, well, first, let me go back. I did have a video consultation with him first. So I told him what was going on from my ectopic pregnancy to where I am now and to the pain. So because of that, he also said they'll also do testing. They was like, well, did they test the other tube to make sure everything was good? I was like, they told me it was fine. So and that was it. But he was like, did they do anything else? I said, no. So he was like, okay, we'll do a testing as well, just to make sure everything is right so we cover all of our bases. So I'm super excited about that. So at least I'll get some answer to my concerns, whether it was conceiving or just the pain in general. Where was it coming from? What was the root cause of it? So then the next visit I went to in person, and as I said, I did the blood work, everything. I went back and then he was like, okay, I'm going to schedule you to come in, and let me see if I can pull this up on Google, see if I say it right. I'm probably not going to. The short version for it is HSG. Hysterosalpingography something is HYSTERO. Oh, sorry, Jamaican accent. HYSTEROSALPHINGOGRAPHY. HSG. I'm going to go with the shorter version, okay, so I don't butcher it. But I have the spelling of it. What that simply means is it's an x-ray that tests the outline, the internal shape of the uterus, and show whether the fallopian tubes are blocked. In this case, it was one, my left one, to show if it was blocked. So pretty much it's a thin tube or a thread that goes through the vagina, into the cervix, and then the substance is actually injected into the uterus. Like the lady was like, it's only going to take about 30 seconds to do this. You may feel some cramping, but it shouldn't be too bad, but just let us know. So I was there, undressed, you know, ready to go. They had this big machine as well, excuse me. So I'm waiting. The nurse, the lady that was there at first, she was so good. She, you know, made me feel comfortable. Then when the doctor came in, she told me exactly what's going to be done. We're going to go ahead, put this balloon inside the uterus to open it up a little bit so we can get the dye in there and really be able to see what's going on. And then the doctor will give you the result. First time she put it in, felt a little cramped and a little uncomfortable. I was like, ooh, a little bit more than I thought. Then the balloon popped out of my uterus. So we had to start all over again. So the second time, now it was just like really painful. So I was like uncomfortable. Like I was like, whew. I was like breathing hard. And she was like, are you okay? I was like, it hurts really bad. She was like, it should be some slight cramping, but it should not be that bad. And she was just like, okay. So she turned the monitor around. She was like, I want you to see what's happening. So I said, okay. She showed me, here's the balloon. We open up your uterus. Here's the tube. The dye is going through your tube, but it's taking a very long time. This should only be about 30 seconds. And we're a minute in and we still haven't gone anywhere. So she stopped and she said, we're going to try, and I was like, can we just try one more time just to make sure we get the result that we need and I don't have to come back. And she was just like, okay. But she was like, if this is painful and we get to the same spot and you're in too much pain, I'm stopping and I'm not doing it again. I said, fair enough. But again, I like doctors who care about your well-being and knowing that you're comfortable as well. So I did appreciate that. So we did it again. It was a lot of pain. And inside the tube, you can see where it was, the dye was traveling, but it was so slow. And one area was like super, super thin, like really, really thin. And then the other area, it kind of got big again and then small again. And then this was like the second time, yes, or more like the third time. It actually stopped at the same area before it got to the uterus. The dye would not pass. So she said, okay, I'm going to stop because you're in a lot of pain and the dye is not going any further than beyond where it stopped before. there appears to be some sort of blockage. So I'll let the doctor get the results, review everything, and provide you with the outcome. I said, okay, great. I left. It was great. You know, the overall experience was great as far as the care that they provided, but not the pain. Never great to be in pain. So I then follow up with my result. The doctor, again, Dr. Sperry was awesome. He was just like, do you want the good news or the bad news? I was like, let me start with the bad news first. So he was like, the bad news is your tube is damaged and blocked. So I was like, okay, so what does that mean? He was like, so the likelihood of you getting pregnant again, you would get pregnant, but you may have an ectopic pregnancy due to the blockage because there's no outage or outlet of the tube into the uterus. And so I was like, okay, that kind of sucks to hear that not only is it blocked, but it's also damaged. So like, is anything gonna travel through there, like at all? Because when I was looking at the video, it was struggling. But just to hear that it was damaged and blocked was like really heartbreaking, because I felt like our chance of having another ectopic pregnancy, just the thought of that was scary. Just the thought of possibly not conceiving, it was heartbreaking. But he was like, the good news is your eggs got it going on. I was like, what do you mean? He was just like, your eggs are great, they're healthy, they're like 27-year-old. You got eggs like a 27-year-old. He's like, but they may not be 27-year-old eggs, but you have good, healthy eggs. I was like, okay. So he was like, so here's what I would recommend. He's like, normally I don't necessarily recommend IVF for women your age and based on their eggs, but your eggs are amazing. Like, I think my level for my eggs was like an 8, when for most women my age are usually at a 1, he said. So he was like, I won't even probably need a lot of treatments or IVF to really conceive because my eggs were great. So I was like, okay, that's good to know. But you know, we wanted to conceive naturally. So my husband came and I shared that information with him. And of course we were both sad about it. I was just still trying to process, because I just felt like it was almost like one thing after the other with this process of trying to conceive that became so trying, where I just had to breathe to get through this whole thing. And so he told us about IVF, so I started to research it, and I had to make a decision to start the process, the blood work and everything else. So kind of speed it up a little bit. We did decide, you know, I was like, babe, I really want us to have another baby, and you know, so I'm willing to try the IVF. I know I don't really want to. God didn't say I couldn't do it. He just said it may be an alternative. So that was my interpretation. And he wasn't all that on board with it because, of course, like most men, they want it to be natural. They don't want to do nothing, no lab or anything of that nature. So the doctor explained to me the process, which I told my husband. First, what they'll do is extract the eggs, and then they'll also remove my tube, because that will prevent. So that was the next thing. I had to get my tube removed to surgery to help remove any pain and things of that nature. That was the doctor's recommendation as well. So, with that being said, I was thinking about that. Now I have to do another surgery to remove my tube, and the fact that it's going to be gone, and what is that going to do to my hormones? What in that, like, you know, all these things I was processing. So I didn't make a decision right away, as it took me about a month or 2, because I was still processing, still breathing through what I need to do. And first I told my husband, it's going to cost us like 20, 30 grand. Our insurance doesn't cover it. He was just like, you know, kind of scratch our head at first. And he's like, well, whatever you want to do, we'll do what we need to do to take care of it. So, okay, now we had to give samples, and he wasn't excited about trying to give any type of semen sample at all. There's all type of ways. And eventually we started. I was like, okay, we started and said, we'll go ahead and try. If we try, at least we did something. So in the process of trying, we started to get blood work and all of that stuff. So then I turned around and then I kind of waited again before we actually moved forward to do it, because I'm not gonna lie, I was scared. I was scared about getting my eggs removed. I was scared about surgery again because of some of the issues I had after. So I did pause and wait again. So I really kind of dragged my feet through this process. And because it was a hard one. It was still a hard one to process. You know, within these past few years, processing this journey of trying to conceive. And I'm just thankful for my support that I have. And, you know, I would not have made it without them. So with that being said, that's my currently my story with my start of my IVF process. So stay tuned to see what happened next. So until next time, guys, thank you so much for watching and just commenting as well, those who are commenting. And don't forget to subscribe and share it with another woman. And if you have your story, I would love to hear your story. My story will continue, so stay tuned to see what happened next, as I said. Until next time, love on yourself and love on them babies.